Let me ask you something. Have you ever looked in the mirror wearing a shirt and thought, okay, I don't look that bad, but the moment that shirt comes off, something just doesn't match up? You can see the softness. No real chest definition, no visible muscle, just a kind of flat, undefined look with maybe a little extra around the waist. And here's the confusing part. You're not overweight, but you don't feel lean either. You're stuck somewhere in the middle, and it's incredibly frustrating. If that sounds familiar, this video is going to change how you think about your body entirely. Because what you're dealing with has a name, a real physiological explanation, and a very specific fix. And almost everyone is solving it the wrong way. Section 1. What is skinny fat really? The term skinny fat sounds like a contradiction, but in science it has a proper name. Normal weight obesity. It means your BMI looks totally fine on paper. Your doctor glances at your chart and says, you're in the healthy range. But underneath that, your body composition tells a completely different story. High body fat percentage, low lean muscle mass. That combination is exactly what creates the soft, undefined look, even at a normal weight. A 2008 study published in the Archives of Internal Medicine found that nearly 1 in 4 normal weight adults had metabolic obesity, meaning their metabolic health was comparable to someone who was clinically overweight. So this isn't just an aesthetic problem, it's a health problem hiding behind normal numbers. Now, how does someone even end up here? It usually comes from years of eating just enough to maintain weight, but never building real muscle. Maybe a lot of sitting. Maybe some cardio here and there, but nothing structured. The scale never really moved, so it felt like nothing was wrong. But quietly over time, the muscle that should have been there just never developed. And fat slowly took up more and more of the space. Section 2. Why the common fixes make it worse. So when someone finally decides to do something about it, what do they usually do? They cut carbs, they start running, they eat as little as possible and spend an hour on the treadmill every day. And I completely understand that instinct. It feels logical. I have fat, so I'll eat less and burn more. But here's what the science shows actually happens when you do that as a skinny fat person. When you eat too little and do too much cardio, your body reads that as a survival threat. Cortisol, your stress hormone, spikes. And your body starts breaking down muscle tissue for energy. Not just fat, muscle. This is called catabolism. And for someone who already has very little muscle mass, this is devastating. A 2011 study in the American Journal of Clinical Nutrition found that when people in a calorie deficit didn't do resistance training, they lost nearly as much lean mass as fat mass. So you end up smaller, but with the same soft, undefined composition. You didn't fix the problem, you just shrunk the problem. You went from a medium-sized soft body to a small-sized soft body. The ratio, fat to muscle, barely changed. Endless cardio also does something else that makes this worse. It dramatically increases your appetite. Research from the University of Louisiana found that people doing high amounts of cardio consistently overate in compensation, often consuming more calories than they burned. So you feel exhausted, you're hungrier, and you're losing muscle. Not exactly the winning formula. Section 3. The real fix. Body recomposition. So what actually works? The answer is something called body recomposition. And for skinny fat people specifically, this is the single most powerful tool available. Body recomposition means you're doing two things at the same time. You're losing fat and building muscle simultaneously. Now, fitness culture will often tell you that's impossible. You have to bulk first, then cut. But that rule applies to advanced athletes who are already close to their genetic ceiling. It does not apply to you. A landmark 2016 study in the Journal of Strength and Conditioning Research confirmed that untrained individuals, people new to proper resistance training, can absolutely build muscle and lose fat at the same time. In fact, being untrained is an advantage here. Your body is highly sensitive to the training stimulus. It responds fast. Think of it this way. Your body is a house that was built with cheap, flimsy materials. Body recomposition doesn't knock the house down and start over. It renovates from the inside, swapping out the weak materials for stronger ones, room by room, without ever moving out. The key is giving your body just enough energy to function and rebuild, while still forcing it to tap into stored fat. That means eating at maintenance calories, or a slight deficit of around 10 to 15%, not a crash diet. Not a starvation protocol, just a careful, strategic balance. Section 4. Nutrition. The building material. Now, for the body to actually build new muscle during this process, it needs one thing above everything else: protein. Not in a bro science way, but in a very literal cellular way. Muscle is made of protein. Muscle protein synthesis, the process your body uses to build new tissue, requires amino acids from dietary protein as raw material. Without enough protein, your body simply cannot build or repair muscle, no matter how hard you train. The research consensus, backed by a 2017 meta-analysis in the British Journal of Sports Medicine, suggests around 6 grams of protein per kilogram of body weight per day as the effective minimum for muscle building. Going up to 2.2 grams per kilogram is also well supported, especially during recomposition. For a 70 kilogram person, that's roughly 112 to 154 grams of protein daily. Now, before you panic, that's not as complicated as it sounds. 3 eggs gives you about 18 grams. A cup of Greek yogurt adds another 17. A chicken breast at lunch gets you 35 more. A protein shake in the evening adds 25. You're already close to your target, with food you probably already enjoy. You don't need to eat out of Tupperware. You don't need to suffer. You just need to make protein the anchor of most of your meals. As for carbohydrates, don't cut them out. Carbs are your muscle's primary fuel source during resistance training. Removing them reduces training performance, which reduces the muscle-building stimulus, which slows down your entire recomposition. Eat whole food carbs, rice, oats, potatoes, fruit, in moderate amounts. Keep fat reasonable. Hit your protein. That's it. Section 5. Training. The right stimulus. Now for training. The most important thing to understand is this. The goal is not to burn calories. The goal is to send a signal to your muscles. That signal says, you need to grow stronger, because what you just did was challenging. That signal is delivered through resistance training, lifting weights, using resistance bands, doing body weight exercises with progressive difficulty. The scientific mechanism here is called mechanical tension. When you load a muscle close to its limit, it experiences micro tears in the muscle fibers. During recovery, those fibers are repaired and made slightly thicker and stronger. That's literally how muscle is built. Now, the key principle that makes this work over time is progressive overload. Every week or two, you challenge yourself just a little more than before. 1 extra rep on a set, 5 more pounds on the bar, a slightly harder variation of the movement. It doesn't have to be dramatic. Small, consistent increments are the entire game. 3 to 4 sessions per week is more than enough. Full body programs tend to work well at this stage. Hitting each muscle group multiple times per week accelerates the adaptation. Focus on the fundamental movement patterns: squat, hinge, push, pull, carry. Get those strong, and your physique will follow. Now, what about cardio? Don't abandon it, but change how you think about it. Instead of brutal HIIT sessions that spike cortisol and suppress recovery, use walking. 7,000 to 10,000 steps a day is your fat-burning baseline. Walking burns meaningful calories without eating into your recovery. It doesn't suppress appetite. It actually helps regulate it. And you can do it anywhere: after dinner, on a phone call, during a lunch break. It's the lowest friction, highest return cardio tool available to you. Section 6. Recovery. Where the magic actually happens. Here's the part most people skip right past. You don't build muscle in the gym. You break it down in the gym. You build it when you sleep. During deep sleep, your pituitary gland releases growth hormone. This hormone drives muscle protein synthesis and fat mobilization simultaneously. It's the hormonal engine that powers recomposition. A 2011 study published in the Annals of Internal Medicine found that sleep restriction cut the proportion of weight lost as fat by 55%. Read that again. Same diet, same training, but less sleep meant significantly less fat loss. Sleep is not optional. It is not a recovery hack. It is the recovery. Aim for at least 7 hours. 8 is better during active recomposition. Protect your sleep like you protect your training. Section 7. Tracking progress the right way. One thing that trips people up early in recomposition: the scale. Because muscle is denser than fat, 1 pound of muscle takes up significantly less space than 1 pound of fat. So as you swap fat for muscle, your weight might barely change, or it might even go up slightly. Meanwhile, your waist is getting smaller, your shoulders are getting wider, and your clothes are fitting completely differently. The scale is measuring the wrong thing. The tools that actually reflect your progress are these: weekly photos, same lighting, same time of day, same angle. Waist measurements. This is one of the clearest indicators of fat loss. Training performance. Are you lifting more, doing more reps, recovering faster? How your clothes fit. This is often the first thing other people notice, even before you do. If those markers are moving in the right direction, the process is working, regardless of what the scale says. Look, there's no secret here. The skinny fat problem didn't happen overnight, and it won't be fixed overnight. But here's what's actually encouraging. Because your body hasn't been trained seriously before, it responds faster than you'd expect. The first 6 months of proper training produce the most dramatic changes you'll ever experience in your life. That window is open right now. The framework is simple. Eat at or near maintenance, with high protein. Lift heavy things 3 to 4 times a week, and add a little more weight each time. Walk every day. Sleep like your transformation depends on it, because it does. Don't obsess over the scale. Demand consistency, not perfection. An 80% adherence rate over 6 months will produce results that people actually stop and comment on. That's not motivation talk. That's what the research says. And if you want to understand the science behind your own body more deeply, that's what this channel is for. Subscribe, because there's a lot more coming. See you in the next one.